Hello there, it's Carrie Rhodes here. Time for another paper crafting video. Thanks for joining me for the March 2025 club kits from Spellbinders. I have several of the club kits, not all of them, but I'm going to put them together to create these 3 cards. I think these sets this month coordinate so well. I'm starting out with the large die of the month. This is always like my go-to kit, and I feel like everything else can kind of combine with this. So here we have some critters. We have a dog, a dinosaur, and then also some flowers you can make. And then it has these 2 arched frames that you can use to create little vignettes. That's why it's called Friends and Family Vignettes. Okay, so this is the one thing I love. There is a skirt for the dinosaur. There's also a hat and some slippers and cute little accent things. Then we have our Better Press of the month. This is called Quilted Memories. It has 2 sentiments along with this gorgeous cover plate. I am in love with this. It is so pretty. Quilted Memories. All right, then I have to show you the stencils of the month because this Mosaic and Quilted Memories stencil set has 5 stencils in it, and they coordinate with things from this month's club kits, or you can use them completely standalone. It's so clever. Okay, so these 3 are going to work to help you stencil and add color to this background from the Better Press set. It is so gorgeous. I can't wait to show it to you. It's my 3rd card in the video. Okay, so then there's these other 2 stencils left in the set. We're going to show those in just a minute with what they coordinate with. But first, here's the Nearest and Dearest clear stamp of the month, which you can get by itself or you can get with the coordinating dies. And I feel like this month you've got to have the dies because this die is going to cut out those words. You stamp the words. There's 2 stamps. Stamp one of them. You're going to get all of those sentiments and die cut them out. And then there's another one that fits the die also. All right, and if you like that, then you're probably going to love We Are All Family, which is the glimmer kit of the month. And this is the same thing. You're going to glimmer, hot foil all those sentiments and die cut them out at once. And even this mom, dad, and mum, you're going to glimmer, hot foil all 3 of them and be able to cut them out with your die all at once. Okay, so this is Mosaic Memories. This is the embossing folder of the month, and here comes back those 2 extra stencils that I showed you just a second ago. These are going to allow you to stencil color on to your embossed background. It's gorgeous. I love this. I am going to show it to you in today's video. And then the last of the things I have is the Floral Fence of Togetherness, a 3D embossing folder. It is so pretty. I'm going to use part of it in my video today. All right, there's also other things in the club kit, so be sure to check them out, as well as the Deluxe Caboodle, which gives you a discount on all the club kits plus a free gift. So we're going to jump right in and look at all these die cuts. So these are all the pieces you need to create the dinosaur, and I'm going to show you how to put it together. So I'm adding the little scales to the back there. It has a little space for you to add the glue and stick it on. It's really easy. This part is the tummy, and what I love is that it has a cutout so you can see like the second arm of the dinosaur. That's super clever. I put a black scrap, you'll see the die that cuts out the crown also cuts out a part that goes to the slippers. So I had some black pieces and I just used that black crown to go behind the eye and added the skirt and the crown, which I die cut from some glitter craft foam. So there's the dinosaur. Let's move on to the dog. I'm going to tell you right now, I messed up. There's a part in here I totally missed a die. So I'm going to show it to you how I did it the first time and then how to do it the right way. Okay, so here's the dog. I am taking just a scrap of black cardstock and putting behind the dog's eyes so they're filled in black. But I should have known right here that I was wrong because Spellbinders always has all the things for you. You never have to find a scrap to fill in the back. I mean, that's just how they are. Like, they're amazing that way. So I should have known right there. Okay, let's continue on. I added these darker brown pieces to the lighter brown pieces that give you like the spots or the variation in color for the dog. This little wonky weird thing is actually like a spot on the back of the dog, but also is the tail. So that's really cool. There's also embossed lines on the dog that give you the details like his paws, and then also a line so you know exactly where to put the head on. But before you do that, if you want to add a tongue, that's what this little wonky weird thing is, and it has a circle at the end so you can glue it to the back of the dog's head. And then I glued this on, and you can see that kind of brown spot it fills in the nose, and I thought, well, maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. And then I just die cut the head again, die cut out a second nose in black, drop it in, paper piece it. Yeah, that's what I did. So it works, it's fine, but there's actually an easier way. We'll get to that in a minute. All right, so here's the little baseball cap. There's the segmented pieces that are separate, and then the solid piece, you can glue them together and have a really fun look. I did kind of a lighter turquoise and a darker turquoise for mine. And there's the hat. Now the slippers are their own die, but then there's a layering piece that's with the crown, and those little pieces go at the bottom here. I don't know why there's like a hole cut in that part. Like, that seems weird to me. I don't know. There's also a dog bone that's on the same die with the tongue. So there's all of the dog pieces except this one. This is the one I forgot. I was like, what is this die, when I was getting out all the dies to create the flowers? And I'm like, oh my word, it's the back of the dog's head. You glue it together just like this. And so I decided I'd make a black and white dog. And I really love how he turned out. Very simple, but he's super cute. So he's going to get the hat. There's the bone, the slippers. You could have maybe the dog trying to hold the bone in its mouth. That would be really cute. Okay, here's the flowers. So the flowers, these are all the pieces you're going to use to make the actual flowers. Like, I'm going to make pink flowers. So those are all the things I'm going to cut pink. These are the centers. Those are the things I'm going to cut from yellow. And then here's all the greenery, the stems, the leaves. I'm going to cut all of these from green. And today I'm going to be using some cardstock I just got from the 12 by 12 cardstock shop. They're Encore cardstock. It's textured, and I really wanted to play with it. So I'm going to use these two colors here for my flowers, and then some yellows and greens as well. So here's all the die cut pieces. I die cut those little half flowers twice so I could have a dark pink and a light pink on each petal. So that's what you'll see there. And now these little arched pieces are the edges, like the folded up petals of the largest flower that you can die cut. So this is how they go on, and it makes it look, you know, kind of 3D and fun. And then there's a larger center, and then a larger rounded piece to go in the center of the center. And then the smaller flower has a little bit smaller of that decorative center and a little bit smaller rounded piece to go in the center of that. And you can cluster those together. Then we have the two stems for our like side view blooms, these smaller ones. There are little yellow pieces you can put in the center of these, a bigger one and a smaller one, and they're kind of bumpy on one side and rounded on the other side. So I put the bumpy side so it was showing when I created those flowers. And then we have ones that are just the buds, and so the pointy end of the bud is going to go down towards the stem, and there's 3 of those. And just having these little detailed flowers like this really helps you create a nice floral arrangement. Okay, we've gone through the entire large die set. Let's jump in and do card number 1, and we're going to use this embossing folder of the month. Now these are club kits that you can subscribe to. They're going to come to you every month until you say, I'm all done. But also sometimes when they have leftovers, you can go back and buy these from the shop if they have leftover kits. So if you're watching this after the fact, don't be afraid to go check out the Spellbinders shop. I'll have it linked for you below, and search for the Mosaic Memories embossing folder or whichever thing that you like. So I lined up the stencil there. I stenciled the first layer with green, and then I decided I didn't want to waste the ink on my stencil, and I'm really trying to get better about cleaning off my stencils the minute I use them or I'm done using them. And so I spritzed it and I picked up the ink. But what I really need to know from you is, would you use that background? I need you to let me know in the comments below. I'm going to make one from every piece of stencil that I use in every piece of stencil. You know what I mean. And I'm going to come up with 5 different backgrounds, and I want to know from you guys if you would use them. And also, would you be interested in a second video where I take those and turn them into cards? These backgrounds that maybe look a little crazy. I love making my own backgrounds, so I would be totally interested in this. But check out the reveal on this. This to me kind of looks like faux paste. Like when you use paste with a stencil, you get a nice raised up image. This is like I did that, but I didn't use any paste. It's really cool. And again, like so much more cool when you're holding it in your hand than just looking at it on the screen. But I was so impressed with this. Okay, so here's the second one. I think they're cool, but I have to know what you think. All right, so now I'm pulling together all my pieces. I die cut that largest arch from some vellum, and then the smaller one, I'm going to use this pearlized vellum, and then I'm going to layer the two up together. I just couldn't bear covering up very much of that background. And now I'm going to bring in that clear stamp of the month, and I only need one saying for this card, but I can have all the sayings. Now, these sentiments are very much geared towards family, like Mother's Day, Father's Day, to my daughter, son, those types of things. So I think this is really cool. If you wanted to gift somebody a set of cards, you could have all of these stamped and die cut out, put in a bag, and they can customize the cards that you give them with their own sentiment. You might need to give them some glue dots or some tape or, something to stick them down if they're not a card maker. Or also, if you sell cards, this would be a really fun thing to sell, where you have plain cards and then they could, add their own sentiment if you're the kind of person that makes and sells cards. So I think there's a lot of fun uses for this, even if like maybe you don't have a grandson, or, maybe some family members have passed away, but there's still uses for these if you make and give cards or sell cards or whatever. Have friends over to make cards, they can, pick out these different sentiments. So I think it's a good thing to have in your stash. All right, so I added the dinosaur to that smaller arched piece and then the sentiment, and then I'm going to glue that down, putting glue only behind those die cut pieces onto the larger arch. And then the glue on this one, I added a little to the edges and just smudged it out with my finger so it wouldn't show up as much when I stick it down to this textured background. I decided I needed a little bit of flowers on my dinosaur card because these flowers are really cute and really easy to put together. I added some of that glittered foam to the centers of the flowers to really help tie in that glittery feel. And then this whole thing is getting added to an A2 size card base, which is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4 inches to complete my very first card with these club kits. They're super fun. The coordination of the stencils with the other products, it makes me so happy. I love it. So let's make one with the dog now. Speaking of dogs, I'm sure you can hear my puppy in the background. I'm going to pause and take care of her. Okay, back to the card. I am die cutting the arch, the largest one, from a scrap of pattern paper I had in my stash. I don't even remember what it's from, but look at me using my paper. I'm so proud of myself. Okay, so I am taking that bone die and I'm going to die cut out a bunch. I did 4 down each side and 2 across the top, 2 across the bottom, and I'm going to glue these down to make a frame on my card. And let me just tell you how tickled I was with this idea. I think it turned out so cute, and it's just a fun way, a different way to use that bone die, and I love it. I love how it turned out. So I'm just going to glue the side pieces first and then the top and bottom, and I wasn't too awfully concerned about the spacing. I try to just let those things go. Don't let it stress me out. But if it stresses you out to not worry about it, then you should totally get a ruler. But I'm not good with a ruler. So I put my arch onto some craft foam to pop it up and make it nice and sturdy, and then added my dog with foam squares, and I'm taking a black glaze pen, filling in his eyes and his nose to make them shiny. Now I'm going to hot foil those sentiments. They are such a cool, skinny little font, and it's going to make, again, lots of like family type sentiments, but there's also like a thank you in there. So it's a good variety to have. Okay, so here, let's go ahead and roll those through the die machine, giving pressure, and then the heat from the Glimmer Hot Foil system will help transfer that foil onto the paper. And let's take a look at these sentiments. So we have to my sister, to my friend, my brother, you're my hero, lifelong friend, you inspire me daily. So there's some really good things in here that can go with a Mother's Day card or to a friend. It's a lot of good variety. All right, so now I'm taking that foil, putting it down onto a solid plate, and then adding a piece of paper so I can hot foil the negative. I put down a shim here, but it was just a folded in half piece of paper because I don't get a lot of good pressure in the center. So I thought this would work out. Let's see. All right. I am die cutting out those original sentiments. They turned out great, and I was probably going to use one of those, but then I did this hot foiling and it did not turn out great at all. Yeah, I can tell a shim is very helpful, but I think I need a solid one. So I decided not to waste it. I would go ahead and die cut it out because I thought there was a few I could salvage, and I am actually going to use one of these on my card. So I'm adding that with some liquid glue. It says, "Thanks for everything." I had to take a little bit of like a black marker and color the end right by the word thanks, and you can't even tell that that part was missing, just a touch of foil. So added that to my A2 size card base, and I'm adding some white highlights to the eyes and nose of my dog with a Copic paint marker. And there you can see what it looks like all done. This is just a clean, simple card, but lots of fun things in there with the die cutting, the paper piecing, and the stitching on that arch, and then my hot foiled sentiment. So I think it's really cute and will be a fun card to give. All right, let's move on to the card with the flowers. I'm turning this one into a shaker, but first we have got to do this mosaic Quilted Memories, that's what it's called. Quilted Memories Better Press Plate. So I'm using the Better Press system, a piece of cotton paper from Spellbinders. It's kind of a creamy color, and then I'm using some black Better Press ink and adding ink all over this plate. And then everything's lined up. You can see with the registration marks on that system. And then this one, you run it through the die machine and it presses that plate into the paper. It's going to deboss the image that's inked up, and it is fabulous. Oh my word, I love this. It's so gorgeous, but there's more. You can stencil and add color to these with the stencil of the month. So I'm just taking my brush that already has pink on it from the stenciling I just did and doing a really light layer. So really light pink. When I felt like I ran out of ink on my brush, I just tapped it on there to get a slight amount of ink to finish up all these flowers. I guess they're flowers, the flower centers, so they're really light in color. And there you can see it does those 4 petals, but the outer part of the flower and the very center are left the color of the paper. Let's not forget to clean up our stencil and take a little print, and this is going to be added to my collection, but it's up to you guys. If you want to see a video with me turning these into furthering the background, turning it into a card, you have to let me know in the comments. Okay, so here's stencil number 2. We're going to do the same pink, but I'm going to go heavy this time. So lots of ink on the brush and really burnish that into the paper, and then I'll have this two-toned flower with the light and the dark pink like I did on the flowers for my dinosaur card, and the flowers I'm going to put on this card. So isn't that gorgeous? Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's take our print with this one, and I think this one turned out really good. I love the dark pink on there. I think it's one I'm definitely going to use. Isn't that cool? Okay, so we'll set that aside, and then for the green, I'm using my brush without adding any ink to it, just that really light wash of green, and then I'm going to bring in the, mowed lawn and a smaller blending brush, and I'm just going to go over the centers of all of these greenery sections where they kind of meet, and that's going to leave the ends of them light green and the centers darker for a little bit more of dimension, a little bit more of interest with those shadows and highlights. So I think this is so amazing. I could have made 27 of those, just different colors. They're amazing. All right, so let's do our final stencil cleanup print. Yeah, okay, I'm dying to know. It's going to be my favorite part of this video is coming and checking the comments to see what you guys think of those backgrounds. Okay, so I used the largest arch and cut out the center to make the window for my shaker. And then I'm going to cut both of these at the same time from some green cardstock, the same green I used for my leaves. And that's going to give me a frame that is pierced that I can inlay and really help draw your eye towards the shaker portion of my card. So before I can stick that down, I need something to stick it to, something to create my window. So I added a piece of window sheet to the back, and then I can glue this right to the top of that, and it makes the opening a little bit smaller too, so it's a positive on this card. And then I kind of arranged my flowers how I felt like they should go, get an idea for it before I start really gluing things down. So then all I need to do is glue them down, and they are going to go over parts that are window sheet, parts that are paper. So I do tend to put a little bit more adhesive here. And one little tip that I have is don't press things down really hard at first. Kind of stick them there lightly, let the glue set up for a second, and then after, you know, a minute even, you can go in and really press them down, and then you don't have so much glue seeping out. Okay, this amazing 3D embossing folder, I wanted just the part that's like the fence, and so I was able to do that because this is a like 9x6 embossing folder. So I was able to do this 4 by 5 1/4 inch panel that's going to fit perfect behind my card. I actually think I made it a little bit smaller than 5 1/4. No, I think it is 5 1/4 because that card front piece that I stenciled on, that's 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. So I like to make my background piece a little bit smaller, and then it's easier to line up. And I wanted to make sure this was straight, not crooked. And I just added some clear sequins in there, and the foam tape is all around that window so none of my shaker bits can escape. And then we'll add this entire thing to our A2 size card front. This time there's no white border, it goes all the way to the edge. So I like most of the time to have a white border, but this is just so gorgeous. I decided it was fine to not cut it down. All right, now I am die cutting out the word mom, but there you can see in the stamp set there's also the word mum, and they have that in the hot foil set too, mom and mum. So I love that. All right, now we're adding Happy Mother's Day from the stamped sentiments and adding the word mum up here by the flowers. It was kind of hard for me to think where to add that word, mum, mom. And then to help the flowers just kind of stand out a little bit from the background, I have a shimmer pen. I'm going to color over all the blooms and just kind of go down the center of the leaves to give them a little bit of shimmery shine, and that really did the trick. So that's card number 3. I have that arched over there on the side, and I feel like I could turn that into a tag and put it on my mom's Mother's Day gift to go with this card, right? Yeah, I think I'll totally do that. So there's the 3 cards. I hope that you enjoyed this look at Spellbinders Club Kits for the month of March. And be sure to check out that deluxe caboodle because it's a great savings. You're also going to get the small die of the month, the stitching die of the month, which is very cool, the wax seal, which I usually show but didn't get this time, and all of these together, and a free additional gift. This month it's like additional die cut words, I believe, or hot foiled words that you cut out, additional sentiments. So you can never have too many sentiments, and sentiments are things you can add with anything that you already own. So I'm always excited to get sentiments to go with the cute things. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate you being here and letting me share my creations with you. If you have any questions about the Spellbinder Club Kits, let me know, but all the things are linked for you below so you can click over and check them out for yourself. And I will be back again very soon with a new card making video or paper crafting video just for you. So feel free to subscribe if you're new here, and I'll see you then. Happy stamping. Bye.